You're listening to the J.D. Rucker Show. Let's begin. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the J.D. Rucker Show. If I look like I'm looking off screen, I am. I'll admit it. We're working a little bit today. I've got, obviously, some talk about the big story of the day, which is the nothing burger of the Jeffrey Epstein drop, the attempts at recovering, which Bondi, Kash, Patel are currently doing. They're trying to salvage the situation and hopefully come up with something much better. Tomorrow, we will see. I'm very, very hopeful. But in the meantime, I have to go through, before we get started with all that stuff, I got to go through, and I figured I'd take you with me, go through some of the headlines that popped up because, as you know, I take over the night shift of thelibertydaily.com, and to do so, I have to do a recap. I have to look at the stories that were already covered, and I'm going to at least read some of the headlines to y'all. We'll take it from there. So, FBI hides evidence of being the FBI. That sounds weird. That's from American Thinker. Lying Chuck Schumer, who has never held a real job in his life, blasted for Elon Musk comments. I wonder what those were. I didn't actually hear him make his comments today. Liberal meltdown continues and is glorious but also dangerous. That's from Town Hall. Sounds interesting. Who caused the counter-revolution? I know the answer to that, but we'll go ahead and check that one out. See, Doge is waging a class war on America's new clerisy. That sounds interesting. Not sure what that's going to be about. Auditing America's gold is not just important, it's critical. I couldn't agree more. But the question isn't whether or not they're going to be able to audit the gold or even find gold there. The question is, are they going to tell us what they find? And hopefully, I'm trying to get a guest on to talk about that. Hopefully, we'll get one on tomorrow. Expert in Fort Knox and stuff like that. Rachel Maddow's very, very, very special friend. I'm not going to click on that one. That's for who's that? Oh, that's from Ann Coulter. Okay, maybe I will click on it. WHCA cartel is freaking out because it's losing power and control, not press freedom. And that's the White House Correspondents Association. I think it's the press people that determine who gets to go to the White House and who does not. Well, they don't get to pick that anymore. Counter elites assemble. That's who's that from? That's from lawliberty.org. I'm not even familiar with that one. Looks like my person on the day shift maybe pulling some sources that I'm not familiar with. Can't wait to see that one. Gambian migrant goes on a naked rampage in Germany, injures 3 officers. Wow. I'm not clicking on it. There is a nudity warning on it, so we're going to pass. On X, conservative activists find a direct pipeline to Musk's team. I'm interested in see who that is. Washington Post's top political reporter details how Democrats are totally screwed right now. I think we all know that that's from Town Hall, but we'll definitely check that one out. Okay, cutting through. Let's see who else we got. We got Trump's economic revolution, how his plan could create 20 million new American millionaires. Interesting. That's from Breitbart. Pentagon says tranny troops are disqualified, will be removed from service. Rightly so. Canada spent $216 million digging up Christian school looking for secret indigenous child graves. Didn't find a single one. That's actually a very old story. Not sure why that one is in there. At least maybe there's an update. I'll check it out. Whistleblower. There's a tranny cult inside the NSA. We knew that. That's old news. Dr. Malone says calling chickens to stop bird flu isn't working. No, it is not. Which chains should be the next dual restaurants after Applebee's IHOP? I didn't even know there was a dual Applebee's IHOP. Definitely not going there. Not a big fan of either, but I like the idea of dual restaurants. I'll admit, back in the days, long ago, when I used to eat fast food, I was really happy with the KFC Long John Silver's combo because one member of the family liked, or actually two members of the family liked KFC, and the other two or three, depending upon who was there at the time, liked Long John Silver. So that was nice. House Judiciary demands info from big tech of any talks with foreign companies that led to censorship. Definitely going to check that one out. That's from Just the News. A practical way to protect the worldwide trading system from mices. Yeah, we'll check it out. ICE arrest of illegal aliens up 627% under Trump. Let me read that headline to you again in case you missed it. ICE arrests of illegal aliens up 627% under Trump. I thought it might be higher. Thousands of University of California workers go on strike. Not worried about that one. Democrats cling to racism but call it equity. That is true. 2024's most accurate pollster completely crushes Democrats' Trump narratives. I'll click on them, but I think I know who they're talking about. Will it be Rasmussen? I think it will be. Tranny terrorist. There's a lot of tranny stories today. Tranny terrorist arrested for attempting to firebomb Tesla dealership. Interesting. Stablecoin bills galore, but how do they stack up? More crypto news. Why aren't chicken meat prices rising like egg prices? I actually asked this question the other day. This is from the Epoch Times. We're definitely going to check that out. Andrew Tate and his brother, Tristan, have left Romania for the U.S. I heard about that one. Celebrity tributes pour in for legendary star Gene Hackman. So sad. I don't know how he died. His family's saying carbon monoxide. I've heard foul play. I've heard that there were one report said that there were pills by his wife and that he might have fallen in the mudroom. Maybe he was in a rush to go try to get her help. I don't know. But that whole story is really weird. Really weird. Scott Jennings absolutely cooks a CNN host who says Trump is shredding the Constitution. Let's play that one. That's a video. Let's play that.
Both of you all made an interesting point, which is that your view is that Trump is shredding the Constitution. I'd like to hear more about that. But that it seems to me that you all both believe that the unelected part of our government, the bureaucracy, has a responsibility to resist the political leadership. Is that your view?
That's not actually
That's
what
not
we
at all
said. We
what I
said they
said.
are
Yeah, it is.
upholding the Constitution, the principles of the Constitution, and at times
How
that we
is
have
Trump
seen.
shredding the Constitution?
My God, he's like, should
I
we
mean,
go to-
seriously,
He
do we
doesn't
have to
believe in
give
the
you a
balance of
civics
power,
lesson
Scott.
that we have?
I don't know,
we put all power in the executive
How is
branch.
holding the
the
government-
legislative branch, the FBI. Now we're in control of the military. We're
Yes.
silencing media.
Commander-in-Chief,
This
head
is
of the
what you
military.
do
The
in
Supreme
a
Court of power.
dictatorship.
Are
This
you
is not.
suggesting that the president is not the commander-in-chief of the military?
I am suggesting that the president is going to put in charge somebody who is going to contravene the Constitution. And at some near point, this conversation will look very silly for you because it will be obvious. And right now, you're
Wait,
gaslighting.
he's gonna
but when we
put-
get to the actual
He's
rubber
gonna
on the
put-
road of
I'm
this,
sorry.
it will be clear.
I'm interested in this conversation. He's going to put someone in charge who will contravene the Constitution. Like who? What do you mean by that? The president is in charge of the military, is he not? You said he's going to put someone in charge of the military?
The president is in charge of the military. That is how it works.
This is important conversation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm letting you have it.
He is the best member ever at CNN. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Private investigator says Thomas Matthew Crooks may have had an accomplice. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that one. That's from the Post Millennial. Arizona Senate passes bill that attempts to prevent California-style blackouts. Boring. NFL to place chains with tech to measure first downs. Okay. A new Texas bill seeks to address market distortions caused by federal subsidies. So that's interesting. We'll check it out. MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, drops hammer on Democrat-run USAID, brainwashes world with globalist propaganda. Yeah, that's true. Ex-dementia Joe press secretary admits the campaign was gaslighting public over Joe's decline. We knew that. This delivery driver really appreciates this tip. I saw that video. It's pretty funny. He sings the Chili song. Gene Hackman and his wife, we knew about that. Catherine Herridge exposes CBS. Ooh, this is interesting. Reveals trove of documents seized. For those who don't remember, she was the best thing CBS had going, but she was really pressing hard for certain stories that were maybe not quite beneficial to the Biden-Harris regime. So they fired her, and then they seized her documents. So that's definitely what I'm going to check out. See, Joy Behar begs Elon Musk not to sue her after slandering him as pro-apartheid. Oh, boy. I'm not going to click. I don't care about Joy. Not that Joy, at least. Federal judge rules against CIA DEI hires, says Trump can fire employees. The good news keeps racking up. Idaho legislature committee votes to move anti-Obergefell resolution following gay activists are going crazy. Weird. We'll check that one out, though. Indiana man arrested after threatening to gut Elon Musk and parade his corpse through the streets. Wow. People are unhinged right now. The pattern of transgender violence has emerged. Ooh, in the U.S., that is true. Did the Philadelphia Eagles actually decline? No, they did not. Matt Gaetz on President Trump, Ukraine, and the art of the deal. That was a decent video. I saw that one. Media calls transgender caught with explosives. Media calls transgender caught with explosives at Tesla dealership a woman. Of course they do. Representative Andy Ogles gives update on rogue judges in his impeach-a-thon. Reporter asks President Trump if British PM... that was funny. He tried. Was the British PM able to talk him out of doing tariffs? He tried. And then Seamus Bruner says, the FBI sees vaults of tapes from Epstein. Where are they now? That's interesting. Let's check that one out, and then we're going to play the Ogles video. Let me see. Bring this over to... Sorry, wasn't prepared. Again, semi-working working opening to the show. This won't be how the whole show goes, don't worry, but at least got to get my checks in first. That way I know which stories to pick up on. So this one comes to us from Seamus Bruner. Comes to us from Just the News. Sorry. Seamus Bruner, Government Accountability Institute's Director of Research, says the FBI reportedly seized vaults of tapes from Jeffrey Epstein during their first investigation in the early 2000s. There's a quote from him. None of us want to see what's on those tapes, but what happened to those tapes? That's the question. Who has those tapes? Is our intelligence community keeping those because they want to maintain the leverage that having powerful people on tape doing horrible things provides? There's a lot we need to know, and I would say that's almost certainly 100% correct. And that's it. That's the whole story. Odd. I thought it would be more than that, but still. That's what you get for going into stories blind, and I don't do it often, but that's a necessity for today. Let's go ahead and play the Andy Ogles video. Andy Ogles, for those who don't know him, he's quickly becoming one of my... I'll bring him into the top 10. He's probably in the top 10 as far as my favorite congressman. I'm not going off his ideology. I'm going off the dude entertains me. Okay? There's certain things, like I don't always agree with John Kennedy, but he's always entertaining. So, and Andy Ogles is moving his way up on the House side in that regard. Let's play his impeach-a-thon of corrupt rogue judges.
Hey guys, Congressman Andy Ogles here. So I've got an update, I guess the impeach-a-thon update. So you've got 11 judges here. So 4 of these already have impeachment articles in preparation process or already filed. I have 2 of these. We'll get back to that in a moment. And one of these judges just got spanked by the Supreme Court. Again, we'll get back to that. Over here we have other judges also guilty of overstepping their bounds. And look, James Madison, founding father, warned us about an overactive, a too powerful, quite frankly, a woke judiciary. And we see it coming to pass right here. So what happened? This one right here. So this This judge tried to block Doge from accessing, auditing the Treasury. We know there's waste, fraud, and abuse. This judge right here tried to force the Trump administration to spend billions of dollars to foreign governments. This judge right here tried to require agencies to put back onto their websites the transitioning of children. Oh, by the way, that's called child abuse. You belong in prison. This other judge, again, getting in the way of freezing government spending. This Herson fellow, gender affirming care. This one blocks freezing for NGOs. This one, birthright citizenship. So basically, as we try to right to immigration, we know we're being invaded. We're trying to do something about it. This guy wants your homeland to be less safe. This one right here blocks workforce re-education. So over and over blocks Doge. This is an assault on the presidency. This is an assault on our Constitution. And this is an assault against you. We've got this board. We've got this information. Everybody needs to see it. So we're going to put this outside for everyone to see and to know we're going to hold these judges accountable. This is Andy Ogles with the Impeach-a-thon update.
Interesting stuff. Nice board there. So today's show, obviously, is going to be very heavily focused on the alleged so-called drop of the Epstein Files and the attempts by Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and perhaps others to try to salvage a very poorly received day. People weren't happy. Even the people who were happy for being there, there's a lot of social media influencers, conservative media, new media people there at the White House. They got their binders. They were super excited. And then they were kind of embarrassed. I mean, there's pictures of them, holding the binders and super excited. And then they went and they looked in the binders. They're like, what the hell? There's nothing here. So not blaming them. I mean, they just went to the White House. They didn't even know they were getting the binders. They just went to the White House, as any of us would. And then, so I feel a little bad for them because they get to be the faces of the disappointment that many Americans are feeling as a result of the non-disclosure, the non-transparency. Now, as we've learned, it's not like Pam Bondi did this on purpose. I think she handled it very poorly, to be clear, but I think she has an opportunity. I know. She definitely has an opportunity to salvage this by getting the files that have been withheld from her, acquiring those, and then moving forward and making things right. She has that opportunity. We'll see if she's able to do it. But before we get to that, let's go quick note from a sponsor, and then we'll get into the first story.
I'm Jonathan Rose, CEO of Genesis Gold Group. As Americans, we work hard every day to provide for our families and ensure their future. But with the uncertainty facing our economy, it is more important than ever to safeguard your wealth and protect your retirement savings. Educated investors look to safe haven assets to shield themselves from the economic storm. Tangible assets like gold and silver can provide stability, security, and most importantly, peace of mind. In 1997, the Taxpayer Relief Act allowed Americans to hold physical precious metals like gold and silver in their IRAs for the first time. Today, Genesis Gold Group helps our clients transfer existing IRAs, 401ks, and other retirement accounts into physical gold and silver, tax and penalty free. With thousands of satisfied clients, 5-star reviews, and fully accredited with the Better Business Bureau, our experienced team is here to help you navigate the process. Start to finish, now is the time to educate yourself yourself on the importance of a diversified portfolio, including tangible assets like gold and silver. Call now to receive our free wealth protection kit and digital dollar defense guide. Call now and we'll include our extremely popular silver prepper bar free when you open your account. Add it to your IRA or have it sent to your home. Call Genesis Gold Group today at 800-200-GOLD. Prepper bar only available through Genesis Gold Group.
This is a Fox News alert. The Epstein Files have been released. Fox News senior national correspondent Kevin Corke has been pouring through all the documents. Kevin, what can you tell us?
Evening, Laura. I don't want to oversell this because I don't think there's a whole lot to sell, at least so far. We'll probably learn a lot more tomorrow morning by that 8 a.m. deadline that the AG has given the FBI in New York to turn over everything in their possession. But let me back up for just a second. The Attorney General, you recall last night, called it breaking news. She promised that we would get the Epstein files today, and while that turned out technically to be true, what we've seen so far, critics have argued tonight, really hasn't lived up to the dramatic billing. Now, we began the day with somewhat high expectation, having seen some influencers with so-called Epstein file folders. But that began to fizzle just a bit because we really didn't get a lot of new information. So once we saw that, we wondered, what about the Attorney General's? Was she holding back? Well, she actually wrote a letter, Laura, to the FBI director, Kash Patel, suggesting that the FBI's New York office, which collected material from the SDNY, that's the Southern District of New York, it seemed to be, for lack of a better description, stonewalling, holding back key materials. Now, the FBI director, obviously concerned about this, went on X, and Director Patel wrote a fairly lengthy post. In it, he said there'll be no cover-ups and no missing documents and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. He went on to say if there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them, and we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. So you may be wondering, okay, after all that, Kevin, what do we have? Well, so far we do have 7 flight logs. We have an Epstein contact book. We have a masseuse list, which strangely was redacted. Now, I should add this as well, Laura. Many of the names that we saw on the flight logs, at least so far, mirrored some of the names that we've seen before. There was obviously a criminal action that involved Ghislaine Maxwell. Some of the names on that flight log list, we've already seen those before. But what was interesting so far tonight, and I'm still going through it, we did see a few names in that contact book I told you about. Among them, Michael Bloomberg, Alec Baldwin, and former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. Again, we're still going through it. As I get more information, I promise to pass it along, but that's what I have so far.
All right, Kevin. Always great to see you. Thank you very much.
So the Epstein Files, at least stage 1, phase 1, whatever they want to call it, that dropped today. And wow, was it nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. It is just a straight up absolute embarrassment for the Trump administration. The first, we knew there was going to be, at some point, there was going to be something really negative coming out of the Trump administration. This is it. This is the first black eye that the Trump administration has suffered because the Epstein files were nothing burgers. I'll go ahead and tell you the quote unquote, the names that are bombshells in it. There was a couple, you knew Bill Clinton was going to be in there, of course. You know, there's going to be talk about him. You probably expected Prince Andrew to be on there. The only 2 names that were not even surprising, just it's got some people talking about it on social media, are Tom Hanks and Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, so they're both weirdos, creeps, and probably very much aligned with the with the dark forces out of Hollywood, the dark forces within the globalist elite cabal. We already knew that. We didn't need the Epstein files to tell us that. So otherwise, it was nothing. Now, to be clear, because I'm about to get very critical of the people involved, let's just state for the record that I fully support President Donald J. Trump. I still support Attorney General Pam Bondi, even though this is a clear, she's the one that gets hit the most on this one. This is bad, and I'll explain why here in a second. And Kash Patel, FBI Director Kash Patel, still fully support him. Still excited about the potential for those two, and of course the awesome sauce of President Trump. With that said, this was a debacle. As I posted on X, the Epstein File debacle is exactly that, a debacle. I fully support President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel. But with that said, what was the mindset behind releasing the Nothing Burger the way that they did? Why not come out and say something like this before dropping phase one? This is what I would love for them to have said before releasing the Nothing Burger, the almost completely redacted, with no new information, phase one drop, the way that they did. They should have said something like this: the files we have are incomplete. Someone's hiding a bunch of stuff, and we're putting the full weight of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigations into this to not only find the missing evidence against Jeffrey Epstein, but also to hold everyone accountable who's involved in hiding this and who's involved in the cover-up. Instead, it feels like they thought that they could just get a bunch of influencers in there to tout transparency and hope that nobody notices the drop. The Epstein drop was just a complete and utterly opaque mess. It's not transparency. Not at all. It's one mistake, but it's a bad one. And as I said, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Yes, that makes me sound like a Karen or a soccer mom or something, but it's true. I'm not mad. I'm annoyed, and I am very disappointed. Again, we're learning, and I'll explain that here in a second. We're learning that a lot of the evidence that was presented to Attorney General Bondi was minimal. There was clearly things missing. And she is now learning that there's a lot that was missing. But here's the thing. She knew this going in. She knew this before going on Fox News yesterday and saying, hey, we're dropping phase one of the Epstein Files tomorrow. And some pretty juicy stuff in there. There was nothing juicy in it. Nothing in it was juicy. They brought in influencers. These influencers didn't even realize they were going to get these binders. They got binders. Okay, you had Jack Posobiec, you had Liz Wheeler, Rogan O'Hanley, DC Drano, Libs of TikTok. You had Scott Presser. You had all these great conservative influencers. Not that I necessarily agree with them all, but they are conservative influencers. These are people that toe the line for conservative media. That's why they get invites. I assure you, I will not get an invite at any point to the White House. Not because I'm not supportive of President Trump. I'm extraordinarily supportive of President Trump and the administration. But I'm not going to hold back when they pull BS like this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, well, actually, no. There's no excuse for this. They should have just told us up front. We're still looking for the information. I know that we said we were going to get out to you fast, but the information we've got that's been sitting on Pam Bondi's desk, she bragged about it sitting on her desk last week. So she's known what was in there. She knew there was no bombshell before she told us there were bombshells coming. So why didn't they just tell us? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that past administrations have done. And if it was a past administration, including the first Trump administration, to be clear, if it was a past administration that tried to pull this, I'd be like, oh, wow, here they go. They're trying to. But this, we have a much higher standard for Trump 47. For the second Trump administration, they've demonstrated a willingness to do things that are not ordinary, that are not aligned with the establishment, that are not aligned with the globalists, that are not aligned with the uniparty swamp. So yeah, we've been spoiled. They set us up for expecting real transparency. And what Pam Bondi, at the very least, Pam Bondi is definitely involved. I don't know what Kash Patel's involvement was. I don't know what President Trump's involvement was, or J.D. Vance, or anybody else. We know that Pam Bondi, though, was the one who's saying it was on her desk. And yesterday she was saying she's dropping bombshells with phase one. So at the very least, the Attorney General of the United States of America tried to pull a fast one on us. Okay? She can play the victim card all she wants. She's in the process of trying to, saying that last night she had a whistleblower from the FBI say that there's thousands of pages of information in the Southern District of New York FBI offices, the most corrupt district in the nation, to be clear. I don't doubt that's true. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is true. But why, before she found out from the whistleblower this existed, she knew what was in those files. And she should have, because she's an extraordinarily intelligent woman. She's an attorney. She's a patriot. She's a fighter. She shouldn't have gone on the air last night and said that she was dropping bombshells because she knew she wasn't. So she is 100% to be blamed. Not that she gets 100% of the blame, but of everybody else involved, she's the only one that for sure messed up. She messed up. She went on there, said there were bombshells. She knew there weren't. She lied to you, to me. And she can recover from this. She really can. I mean, this is important, but it's not like, oh my gosh, we can never trust her again. She screwed up. I think she realizes now that she screwed up. They should have just been transparent. They should have just said, holy crap, we're trying to release this. President Trump says to release it. We don't even know where all the files are. What they gave us, that can't be all the files. Somebody else has got the files. We got to figure out who it is. Stand by. If anybody has any information, dial this number. Maybe the whistleblower in the FBI in the Southern District of New York would have called sooner instead of apparently last night, allegedly last night. Had they just come out and said, we're missing files and this is stupid, and the President of the United States has empowered me and Kash Patel to figure out what's missing and to tell whoever is responsible for it to be missing to hold them accountable. They got one chance, just one chance. Get it here now or you're done. And that did come out, by the way. She has said that, but not until after the fact. Here's the letter that she wrote today to Kash Patel. Said, before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, Epstein's list of contacts, and a list of victims' names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents. Sorry, it's small on my screen. It's not that I can't read. I'm trying to see it. To get it onto your screen, I have to look at it small on my screen. Anyway, I repeatedly questioned whether this was the full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received the full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field offices in New York was in possession of the thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and indictments of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this was new information. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audio and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, regardless of how much information was obtained. There will be no withholding or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of victims and in accordance with law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I am also directing you to conduct an immediate investigation into why my order to the FBI was not followed. You will deliver to me a comprehensive report of your findings and proposed personnel action within 14 days. I appreciate your immediate attention to this important matter. I know that we are both committed to transparency for the American people, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to serve the president and our country. All right. So, benefit of the doubt time. Well, no, we'll get to the benefit of the doubt because that helps. That helps a lot. That letter puts me at ease at least a little bit. But let's be clear. If she thought that the massive amounts of investigations that were conducted into Jeffrey Epstein over a period of decades, to be clear, it wasn't like, oh, this is a 6-month investigation. No, they've been looking into Jeffrey Epstein since the early 2000s, at the latest. They continue to look into him for a very, very, very long time. There were concerns, and there still are concerns, that he was working for the deep state, that he was working for Mossad, that he was working for foreign entities or domestic entities or both, that he was accumulating blackmail material on powerful leaders across the planet. So no, don't tell me that you were, oh wow, there's only 200 pages of information that's mostly just like flight logs? Wow. You'd think that you guys could have gotten more. So that's my last, and this is it, my last complaint about Attorney General Pam Bondi is that she didn't recognize, apparently, she needed a whistleblower to come out and tell her that this wasn't it, that there was a heck of a lot more that she's not seeing. And she might have suspected, obviously she did. But if that's the case, then she should have come out and said it. Just like I said, she should have come out and said on Fox News or a press release or whatever, she should have come out and said, hey, we're missing documents. I am the Attorney General of the United States of America. Documents from the Epstein case are missing. Whoever's hiding them, you've got 24 hours to get them to me immediately. If you do not, then we will investigate you. We will find you. We will find the documents anyway. And if you've destroyed them or hampered them in any way, you will be held accountable. You have 24 hours before the hammer comes down on you. That's what the message should have been last week or whenever she determined that there were documents missing. And if she thought otherwise, if she thought, oh, wow, I expected more, but I guess this is it. I guess nobody's hiding it from us. Oh, well, we'll have to pretend like this is a bombshell, even though we know it's not. If that's the case, then she probably shouldn't be in office. No, I think that she made a mistake. So now, that's her one mulligan. I'm willing to, especially after reading that letter, I'm willing to say, you know what? She screwed up. She's going to get it figured out. Kash Patel is getting his feet underneath him. He just got confirmed. He's just getting in there, and he's working against a very adversarial group of people at the FBI. They're already cleaning servers, burning, shredding pages, doing everything they can to subvert his time as director of the FBI. So everybody's doing a whole bunch of things. I'm going to give, well, he doesn't need a mulligan. I still think that he probably just kind of tossed in there. It's like, oh, hey, congratulations, director. You were just given the job. Oh, by the way, the Epstein Files are all screwed up, and we got to release them like tomorrow. Now, one more condemnation, one more complaint. It was a rookie move. It was also a very non-transparent move to try to use the favored conservative influencer children. I say children, I'm not saying that it's like detrimental. It's just these are the White House kids, the ones that get, the conservative media, independent media people that get invited to the White House to sit there and shake hands with President Trump and J.D. Vance. They've done great work, and now they're part of the team, so to speak. But they were used today. They're like, hey, here's a binder. See on the binder, it says that it's the most transparent White House of all time. Here you go. Here's your binder. This has the Epstein bombshells in it. Make sure that you tell all your people that they're bombshells, even though they're not. I mean, I think everybody was shocked. Everybody who got their binder, they're like, oh my gosh. I mean, they all left the White House. There's pictures of them holding up their binder. They're saying they're going on X and saying, oh, most transparent of all time. And then they start looking through it and they're like, wow. You're like deer in the headlights. Glenn Beck came out. He did a hot take. I think it was like at a restaurant or something. It was an awful quality video. I'm not even going to play it because the sound goes up and down. But basically he was saying that, look, if this is true, and it does seem to be true, if the whistleblower is correct and there are documents being withheld from the Department of Justice, being withheld by the FBI or by a district District U.S. Attorney's Office, or both, and in the Southern District of New York, if there are Epstein documents being withheld from the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, then the way that Glenn Beck put it, we're in the middle of a civil war. And I don't think he's wrong. I mean, seriously. They are at war with us. They are protecting people. And it's not just Democrats. They are protecting very powerful people. Is it the Clintons? Certainly, yeah. Is it members of the British royal family, not just Prince Andrew, but perhaps others? Yeah, definitely. Is it members of Hollywood like Tom Hanks, Ellen DeGeneres, whoever? Yep, and yep. But who don't we know about? Because we knew about all those before. So who else are they protecting? What other information do they have? Is it far worse than what we even know? In other words, do they, the FBI in the Southern District of New York, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, or anywhere else for that matter, they were operating out of Florida as well, or operating wherever, is there evidence that can implicate some extraordinarily powerful members of the globalist elite cabal? The answer to that is yes. I'm not going to say maybe or probably or likely or almost certainly. I'm going to just call it a yes. There are people that the globalist elite cabal, there are people that are implicated heavily, that are completely owned and blackmailed. Powerful men, possibly even women, but we know at least powerful men across the globe who have videos of them engaging in child rape. These are powerful men who, if they were caught, if they were taken down by this information, by what Jeffrey Epstein was able to communicate or accumulate, or what the FBI or any other agency was able to gather about them, about raping children, these people would go down, and other people, perhaps members of our own government, perhaps members of other governments, but almost certainly members of the deep state, they would be taken out. Control would be relinquished. In other words, let's say, and I'm using this as an example, and I'm using this as a almost certainly not true example, simply because, if I could pick out just about anybody, and they're probably there. But let's just say, as an example, that they do have. Well, let's go and go somebody they have. Let's say they got Prince Andrew, videos of Prince Andrew in doing bad things to underage girls. Then the royal family is completely implicated. But what if it goes worse than that? What if it's not just Prince Andrew? What if it's other people? Now all of a sudden, the crown is destroyed. It's over. It's done. They will have to step down. They will have to break the line. Prince Charles, who would be the person that I would expect they potentially have information on, Prince Charles would be done, as would his sons, as would everybody within the royal family. Buckingham Palace would be cleared out and turned into a museum. And that would have implications that would cross the globe. And to me, it would be positive implications. But to those in control, the globalist elite cabal, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see their control over anything taken down, especially when there's the possibility that they can be further exposed as a result. Let's say, for example, that President Trump gets wind that Prince Andrew, Prince Charles, or King Charles, and whoever, that they were involved in this stuff. Now, President Trump, the most powerful man in the world, has influence to take down the most powerful royal family in the world. They don't want that to happen, they being the globalist elite cabal. What if it's like, say, Bill Gates? Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein were buddies. What if they have Bill Gates involved, caught, busted, video, audio, whatever? They've got Bill Gates controlled. Bill Gates has his tentacles and his foundation's tentacles, and any foundations that we don't know about, their tentacles spread across the globe as well. His influence, particularly in Africa, is unfathomable. Like, he has more control over the medical aspect of Africa than any of us could possibly imagine. And they are, let's call it what it is, chances are, I'm not going to say this with 100% certainty, but we can say this with 95% certainty, that things that are happening, such as the current rash of hemorrhagic fever taking place in Africa, allegedly because somebody ate bats. Tell me if you've heard this one before. Allegedly, they ate some bats, and now they're getting hemorrhagic fever, and like 50-something people died. I would argue there's a much better chance that Bill Gates, or somebody else, but probably Bill Gates, is experimenting with a hemorrhagic fever to see, hey, how effective is this? Because a hemorrhagic fever can be so deadly that it doesn't have the ability to spread. Like, you have to, for a real, a full-blown pandemic that can kill a bunch of people, you need those people to not die so fast. I know I'm speaking very hideously, but we're talking about hideous people here, probably doing hideous things. Again, I have no evidence of that. I'm just going based upon the conspiracy theories that we've heard about Bill Gates over the decades. This certainly would seem like something that he would be involved with. Well, if that's the case, and they have access or they have evidence against him that could take him down, do they want that evidence in the hands of Kash Patel or Pam Bondi or Donald Trump, for that matter? Or do they definitely don't want it in the hands of the people? They don't want us to know. Moral of the story from all of this is that we've had it pretty easy. We've been the first month and a half so far of President Trump's administration, less than a month and a half. We've had to fight some lawfare. We've had to fight lies and propaganda. We've had to fight some we'll say, states expressing their state rights in ways that may or may not be legal, lawful, constitutional. We've had to fight some things, but for the most part, we've been coming out on top. Yeah, we're taking some little slippages here and there, but I think that most, if not all of those, are going to get sorted out in the Supreme Court. Some of them may not, and we'll take those losses. We've experienced some pretty, I guess, easy victories so far, and very minor defeats when they're defeats at all. This incident, the Epstein Files debacle, is just a reminder that the deep state, when they really, really want to go after us, when they really, really want to prevent the Trump administration from doing something, they're willing to stick their neck out. Clearly, they want control of the Epstein Files. Clearly, they do not want anyone in the Trump administration or anyone in the public to have access to that information. Maybe they want to continue to use it. Maybe they're protecting people. Maybe it's a combination of the two. It's probably a combination of the two. Either way, they're not going to give that one up easily. We think that we're going to fight the lawfare and take it to the Supreme Court and win there. Yeah, that's probably the case. The deep state doesn't abide by the Supreme Court. The deep state doesn't abide by President Trump's decrees or Pam Bondi's harshly worded letters. It's going to take a lot more effort. It's going to take some pretty dirty warfare to be able to fight them. Glenn Beck is right. We are in the middle of a civil war, if that is true. And it seems to be true what's happening with the Southern District of New York. The best thing they've got going, other than holding the cards when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, the best thing they've got going is that not enough people realize how evil and devious they are. Not enough people realize that they are engaged in a form of information warfare against the Trump administration. And very similar to the old adage from multiple sources, most commonly known through the movie The Usual Suspects. The greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing people that he doesn't exist. Well, when it comes to the deep state, their best advantage in their war against the United States of America, in their war against everything that's good and righteous in this world, their best defense is that the vast majority of us don't even realize that we're at war with them. Is the bird flu just the latest example of the powers that be attacking our food supply? I would argue that yes. Yes, it almost certainly is. Now, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist. I'm not sitting there in the laboratory looking into bird flu and trying to figure out if it was man-made or if it's, really spreading to whoever, or if it's in this milk or that chicken or those eggs or whatever. I'm not doing any of that. All I'm doing is looking at the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall for the last few years has said, hey, they're attacking our food supply. It was Klaus Schwab. No. Sorry, it was the other guy, Henry Kissinger. There we go. His predecessor, his mentor. It was Henry Kissinger who said, who controls the food supply can control the people. And it seems as if that's exactly what they are trying to do. I'm a huge fan of, number one, freeze drying your own food, okay? If you have the time and the money, go get you a freeze dryer. You can go to jdrucker.com/harvest, jdrucker.com/harvest, to get you a very high quality freeze dryer, the freeze dryer that we use in my companies. Or if you don't want to spend that kind of money, because they're pretty expensive, or you don't have the time or the energy or whatever, you don't want to do it yourself, it's time to stock up on long-term storage food. You can find 4, count them, 4 awesome options, ways that you can start to accumulate, or continue if you already started, to accumulate high-quality, long-term storage food, oftentimes food that will last 25 years. Start getting it built up as best you can, because there may come a time in the not-too-distant future when acquiring food will not be as easy as it is today here in the United States of America. We're already seeing inflation. That's already hitting us. What happens if they inflate it all the way? What if they really try to make us eat lab-grown meat, quote-unquote meat abominations, or whatever, lab-grown something, GMO this, GMO that, or heck, bugs, crickets, cricket burgers. Get in line for your mealworm bread, the mealworm bread lines. Gosh, so many possible ways that they can come after us, attacking food production plants, again, bird flu, whatever. And I don't think, people, well, no, the Trump administration won't do that. I don't think this is the Trump administration, to be clear. If anything, I would say that the most likely candidate, of course, is the globalist elite cabal. Second most likely candidate would be Communist China. Okay, there's a reason why they're buying up as much farmland as possible. And for whatever reason, we've allowed that. But hey, I'm focused on the future. Go to jdrucker.com/food, jdrucker.com/food, and stock up on as much long-term storage food as you can. FBI Director Kash Patel promises to uncover any hidden Epstein documents in new pledge. This dropped late this afternoon. And as I noted earlier, the FBI, or the Department of Justice's drop of the Phase 1 Epstein Files was just a complete and utter debacle. I blamed squarely Pam Bondi for not necessarily, I know she didn't do it on purpose. I think that she just mishandled having so little information to deliver to us. She overpromised, underdelivered, and I also noted that FBI Director Patel has not had enough time to get his hands in there and make it work, but he's promising to do just that. And we will see what comes of this, but I am very confident that he'll get at least some of it. I mean, can we get some of it? I'll explain why we might not be able to here in a second, but let's go to this article by Misty Severi over at justthenews.com. FBI Director Kash Patel on Thursday night made a new pledge to uncover any hidden documents related to the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The pimp is what he was. He was a child pimp. He was a despicable man, and he did not kill himself. The statement comes after Attorney General Pam Bondi gave Patel an ultimatum, asserting that the Bureau had not complied with her demands for all documents related to Epstein and demanded that he investigate why agents failed to comply. The FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and unwavering pursuit of justice, Patel said. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. We will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we took is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. This promise also comes after Bondi gave Patel and the Bureau until Friday morning, 8 a.m., to turn over the rest of the documents. Now, there are reports that the excuse that the Southern District of New York is quietly putting out there, what they're saying is that, wait for it, they're saying that Jeffrey Epstein was an FBI informant and therefore they're unable to divulge a lot of the information that he was able to procure for them. Now, was he an FBI informant? I'm sure. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that. But he was also an informant and operative for other agencies, almost certainly the NSA and or the CIA, almost certainly Mossad. He has connections. He and Ghislaine Maxwell, his partner in crime, have very deep connections with Mossad. Now, to be clear, what they did was despicable, but don't think low of me for saying this. I'm just stating a fact here when I say that I understand why they want to keep all of this information to themselves. Not justifying it, not defending it in any way. I'm just saying that if I were an evil deep state operative or leader of the globalist elite cabal, I'd want all the dirt that I was able to accumulate on world leaders and business leaders and whoever leaders. I'd want all that kept to myself. Okay? So I understand why they are going after this so hard. But that doesn't matter. There's a new sheriff in town, a couple of them. One of those sheriffs, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, got embarrassed today. Now she's sort of pointing a finger, okay? Not going to lie. Sort of pointing the finger at the FBI, which, to be clear, they answer to her. So, shouldn't she be saying, instead of saying, Kash Patel, I need you to do this, you got until, shouldn't she be saying, hey, Kash, I kind of screwed up. Now that you're in, help me out here. And that's probably how the conversation went, by the way, behind closed doors. But for public, it seems like she's sort of blaming him a little bit. They both can and should blame whatever deep staters and or globalist elite cabalists are behind the cover-up. Patel says he's going to go after them. I'm sure that he will definitely try. The question is, and this is going to be an amazing test, we will learn a lot, and I'm asking for you all to pray for success for Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and the Trump administration over the deep state in this regard. Because this is a real test. This isn't like, oh no, they're going to fire this USAID leader, or oh darn it, they're going to get rid of DEI language on an official government website. Those little fights, those little battles, those lawfare things that are happening every single day, that's nothing compared to this. This is existential for many of the most powerful people in the world. People that you don't know about, that I don't know about, people that are again members of the globalist elite cabal or the deep state or the uniparty state or all of the above. They're not going to give this up easily. And Kash Patel is going to have to fight, and Pam Bondi is going to have to fight, and President Trump is going to have to empower them to fight, and God is going to have to be on their side, because we know that Satan is on the side of the deep state and of the globalist elite cabal. This is a powers and principalities battle. This is a battle that even the Archangel Michael would not face Satan without invoking God. Read book of Jude. And we too must pray for divine assistance. If you're not a Bible-believing Christian, you're probably like, oh, brother, here we go again. Yep, here we go again. This is a very important battle. This is a fight that we need to win. And victory in this case is to have a full accounting and a full exposure of Jeffrey Epstein and what he did, his clients and what they did, the deep state and what they have done and are still doing, and the people that are covering all of it up. 4 different groups of people all have to be held accountable. And you might say, well, why Jeffrey Epstein, he's dead. Why do we have to hold him accountable? Well, number one, he wasn't the only one. Number two, I don't know if he is for sure dead. I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. I'm sure I'll get a fact check and a strike or whatever on YouTube. So be it. I think it's possible that it was all just fake to cover it up. Possible. I'm not throwing that out there as, I've seen him or I've looked at the evidence. I'm just saying that if he was one of their guys, then it would behoove them to get access and control over some of the stuff in exchange for, hey, we'll stick you on this island, get you a nice whatever, plastic surgery, and we'll get you a nice supply of young girls to keep, and you'll live all the rest of your days hidden away. I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying that. I have no evidence of that, nothing definitive. I'm just saying. But if that were the case, then we should put him on the list of people that need to be found by Kash, Patel, Pam, Bondi, and their friends and associates. This is a very dark time in American history that we're talking about here. We need to close the books on this particular chapter. And every time it seems like we try, every time it seems like we're getting close, the book stays open. It just gets moved around. We're fed this page or that page, this redacted, that redacted. We need the truth. We need the whole truth. And we need nothing but the truth. I'm not trying to sound cheesy here. I know that I am, but this is one of those battles. This is one of those big ones. And this is just the beginning. Just wait till we get to the JFK stuff. That's really going to set the deep state off. So look, I know I expressed a whole lot of outrage on today's show. Maybe I went overboard. I don't think I did, but in case you think I did, I am still extremely confident that we're going to get something. Are we going to get all the files? No, I don't think so. I think that there are just too many powerful people who have too much to lose for us to get all the files. But do I think that they're going to be able to find a bunch of it? Do I think that maybe, hopefully, Lord willing, there's some people at the Southern District of New York's FBI branch and maybe the U.S. attorney's branches that are patriots, that really do want to defend the Constitution, and who will overshadow or basically, what's the word I'm looking for? They will disregard the orders by the corrupt leadership over there and try to preserve as much of the evidence as possible. Make copies, I don't know. Save files, figure something out, record something, I don't know. But this is why I firmly believe we need to be very prayerful about this. We want the evil to be exposed, even if that evil is inconvenient, even if that evil is going to do something that could undermine the authority or even the influence of the deep state or the powers that be or whatever. Maybe there's going to be repercussions from it. Probably will be. Maybe it's going to do some damage. Probably will. But we've been lied to so much, and we're just sick of it. This is a new time. I do believe that in Pam Bondi's heart, in Kash Patel's heart, that they want to do the right thing. And I think that as badly as I believe Pam Bondi has handled the situation thus far, she's just getting started. Hopefully, with the help of Kash Patel, with some more resources from President Trump, maybe they will be able to do what we want them to do. Maybe this was just a brief hiccup. I hope and pray that's the case. Okay, if this is just a hiccup, if we're actually going to get some real disclosure here in the very near future, then I will totally forgive the debacle of February 27th, 2025, a Thursday that maybe won't go down, won't be remembered a day of infamy, but it is a day of disappointment, that's for sure. It's a day of embarrassment in many ways for the Trump administration. This was, like I said earlier, this is the first black eye that the administration had to take, and it's a minor one. I mean, it's not like a swollen face black eye. It's just like we got popped in the nose, got a little black mark here under one side or both sides of the eye. No, we'll recover. We can fix this. They can fix it, and I think they're going to try. I know Pam Bondi definitely wants to try, and we know that Kash Patel. I mean, he's been wanting to expose these guys for years. He's had a chip on his shoulder that we want. We want that chip on his shoulder because the chip that he has is for all the right people. Okay, whether it's Schiff or Pelosi or former FBI Director Christopher Wray. Go back to previous FBI directors before him, James Comey, Robert Mueller. There's a lot of corruption in the FBI, and Kash Patel is the right guy to sniff it out. But now we learn, we have information, we have sober eyes now, right? We realize that the deep state isn't just going to be like, okay, well, I guess Trump's in charge. I guess we got to listen to Pam Bondi. No, they're going to fight tooth and nail against disclosure, against releasing any leverage they have over world leaders or business leaders or whoever. They're going to fight tooth and nail to prevent themselves from getting busted for corruption, for whatever it is, all the evils that they've been doing. And it seems we're learning every day that the upper-ups within these various agencies, CIA, FBI, whatever, that they have been operating on behalf of the deep state, not on behalf of the United States of America, and definitely not in defense of the Constitution. They've been going outside of the Constitution for years, for decades. It's time to rein them in. We haven't mentioned John Ratcliffe very much, the new CIA director, but I think that he needs to play a role in all of this too, not necessarily the Epstein stuff, unless the CIA is involved. We know Mossad is involved. We know that the FBI is involved. Those have been essentially confirmed. We can and should assume that the CIA or NSA or both are also involved in some form or fashion. They don't tend to like to miss out on opportunities like at Jeffrey Epstein Island. They seem to get pretty well read in and then directly invested into such operations. It's their style of operation anyway. So I am, again, I don't want to be Mr. Eeyore. They failed us. Oh, bother. Why'd they do this? Why didn't they do this? Blah, blah, blah. I am very hopeful. Extremely hopeful, especially after that letter. I know it's just a letter and a tweet. Pam Bondi sends out a letter. Kash Patel sends out a tweet, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, yay, we're going to win, guys. But I'm okay with that. Okay? I am. I think we do have opportunities. I think until they demonstrate true failure. Today was not a true failure. Today was, like I said, it was a little black eye, a little bloody nose. Nobody got beat up on this one yet. So there is no failure. It's a hiccup. It's just a hiccup. So hopefully, Lord willing, we will be able to overcome it. They will be able to overcome it. Short show today. Apologies for that, but just got a lot of work to do. It was a big day, and I ended up having some outside of the show activities that needed my attention. So I think we are over an hour at least. So hey, it's not like it's a tiny show, but it is a relatively small one. Make sure that you push that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Make sure that you push that thumbs up button. I keep asking for it, and literally only one other person ever does it. It's me and one other person that ever likes a show. It makes me sad. Okay, maybe it's more than one other person, but you get the idea. It feels like it's only one. Sometimes it's single digits. It's oh my gosh, Like I look at some of these other shows and I got some jealousy issues. I'll admit it. I want to be able to reach, millions of people. My show used to be able to reach quite a large audience, and I do miss those days, but I'm going to persevere. And you all watching right now, you all are the early stages of the quote unquote rebirth of the JD Rucker show. So you are the most important people to me outside of my family in the world today. And that's a sincere statement. I mean, my fans, especially if you are watching on a regular basis, you do literally, I might not know your name, but I know who you are in my heart, and I appreciate you greatly. With that said, Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another episode. But in the meantime, you all stay strong, stay safe, and God bless. Here's a true story. I was testing out some coffee. This has been almost a year ago. Testing out some coffee for a potential sponsor. And I had made the coffee, and I went about my morning routine, did my work, doing my thing, and then I took my first sip of coffee. And it struck me. I'm like, holy crap. I had forgotten that I was testing out this new coffee. I just took the first sip, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And then I remembered, oh my gosh, this is Promised Grounds. This is the stuff that they sent me. So I started drinking some more of it, and I have become a lifetime customer of Promised Grounds. They are a Christian coffee company, which I know you don't see a whole lot of them. They give back to the community. They're Texas, all American, all Texan, just like a lot of the stuff that we do. Check them out. Go to jdrucker.com/coffee, jdrucker.com/coffee, and check out Promised Grounds. It's great.